So at this point I can't take on those Marines. I'm going to have to run these Zerglings out, which is unfortunate because I just got my Baneling nest up. What I wanted to do was actually turn them into little Banelings, obviously. Since he's got a lot of Marines, he's got a lot of light armoured units, and Banelings do bonus damage versus light units. We'll have a look at the damage in a minute. But basically they'd be quite devastating to Marines if I could ever get enough into a whole pile of Marines. So he's actually starting to be pretty strong at this point. Whilst I realised, by the way, earlier, so if you're in the same situation, that I wasn't going to be able to kill him, that was the time to start pumping out drones. If you look now, although he's pushed forward a bit, I wasn't paying attention, I'm going to have to go for the attack here. Oh, I did a bit of damage, but I don't think I did enough to really justify. Probably just came on even there. Did enough damage to just sort of put him off, but that could have gone a lot better for me. That's just because I was looking at my base at the moment he decided to put the pressure on. So that was unfortunate. But as I was saying, I've got 23 drones now. He's still only got 14 SCVs. So when I realised this wasn't going to work, you've got to draw a point. You know, you've got to say stop. Okay, as much as I wanted to finish this game early, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I'm going to have to switch to mass drones while sort of like hanging around in his base, making him think that I'm going to still pump Zerglings or attack at any minute, keeping him on edge, whilst all the while I'm trying to soak up all the resources, the minerals, the thespian gas that I possibly can. Now I just want to send one Zergling in just to get a brief glimpse on what's going on. He's smartly put his SCVs, I keep getting names wrong, Marines, the weak ones, inside the bunker, which is obviously the right thing to do. Now I just want to have a quick sneak around. I've got overlords in various places. I've got hoes and different area codes. That just reminded me of that for some reason. Yeah, so I know he hasn't got an expansion. I'm only getting one up myself. Zerg really do need an expansion, to be honest, more than any other race, for obvious reasons, such as more lava, since they cannot pump units like Terran and Protoss can do endlessly from one particular building. Sorry, the building that builds them. It's got a Reaper here. I assume this is more for having a little sneak at my expansion that he might be suspecting, and it looks like he is, because I am controlling this part, so he's not going to be able to get it around there. He sees the expansion is almost up, so he's going to be thinking, what should I do at this point? Well, what is he going to be doing at this point? Looks like sticking to barracks. Oh no, factory's going down. Is it going to be tanks? Could be Hellions, I suppose. Yes, it's going to be Hellions because he's got the reactor for it. So yeah, it's going to be intended to do some Hellion harass, but my response to this will be Spine Crawlers. Spine Crawlers are awesome for dealing with Hellions, because they do the work for you, basically. It's a nightmare if you're trying to deal with Hellions with like most of the Zerg units, like Zerglings, whatever, because they take so much extra damage and die so easily to Hellions. But if you've got a good old static defense tower that's going to sit there and do a good old 25 damage or 30 damage if it's armoured, your enemy is armoured, then does the job for you. One inside your mineral line will basically take care of Hellions quite comfortably. So all the while I'm trying to spread creep tumors through the map, you might notice, because I think these are awesome, awesome Zerg abilities. I mean, that might... I could get a couple of these Hellions here. Yes, it goes well for me. And the Spine Crawler goes up to finish off the last Hellion. So I only used a couple of Banshees to finish off those Hellions, so that was good for me. Hellions could do with a bit of a buff, in my opinion. I think... I don't know. They're hard to fix, because sometimes they can be too good and other times they're well, actually I think most of the time they don't prove that much worth. But I don't know, people haven't been playing long enough yet to find out the real use of Hellions. I mean, Hellion drops can be devastating if you're not prepared for them. So yeah, we'll leave Hellions alone as it is. Now we've got Spire here. Now I'm intending to go Mutalisk, because the last thing I need him to do is to go 4s. But it doesn't look like he's going to be going 4s, because he's got himself a starport, and his starport and his factory both have reactors, so he doesn't have a tech lab at either one, so there's no way he's going to be getting 4s anytime soon. Although he could just fly over the factory to where this barracks is and swap it over with that tech lab, and then that way he'll be able to take over it and start producing 4s. But then again, he still need the armory to build 4s in the first place, but it's relatively cheap. 150 minerals, 100 thespian gas isn't too much. So he obviously knows I'm going air at this point, so a starport with reactor is a very good response to that, because he can double pump out Vikings to deal with any muta harass that I might be sending his way. But to be honest, I've been trying to focus a lot on getting my economy up and running, because at this point of the game, I wasn't even sure where to go because I was like, well, I haven't won the game yet. Oh crap! What do I do now? You know, I haven't played enough. Well, I have played a lot of games. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not confident when it comes into longer games as to what the exact right decision is to do. So the only way is to find out the hard way. I sent in an Overlord here, by the way, and he gets killed pretty hard just to see how many turrets there were in his main before I send the Mutalisks in. So little tips like this, I suppose you can use yourself. There's no harm in that. Rather than send your own Mutalisks in that are much more expensive than the Overlord. You know, sacrifice an Overlord, get a good idea, but you will probably need the upgrade that is there. It's gone now, but it increases the speed of Overlord and Overseers. You will need that, basically. Just have a quick sacrificial scout of the enemy's main, because I can't scan people's bases. Not with Zerg, anyway. Yeah, so what am I intended to do here? I'm trying to mix up Banelings. I really want to work out how to use Banelings right. Most of the time when I go Banelings, I end up losing, because once they are awesome units, if your enemy doesn't take enough damage from them, you've lost lava, and you only get a limited amount of it, as well as units. And they're not that cheap. I mean, they're basically the same cost as a roach. So if you can't do enough damage with Banelings, you may as well have just gone roaches, basically. So yeah, you might notice here is I've borrowed Banelings close towards each other, but left a little gap. You don't need them all stuck together, because just in case he moves all of his units up like this and avoids that bottom bit. So I try to cover all the bases there, but you don't need too many. Now I don't know how much damage Banelings can do really against buildings, because I haven't used them enough. I'm going to find out. That was pretty pathetic, to be honest. That was a good 5 to 6 roaches worth, and that barely did any damage. Now, I'm not going to be able to do much against those Vikings, so I'm just going to go for an attack here, try and distract him whilst I'm going to build more stuff at my main. I've got Infestors coming along. So really, the idea of this was all sacrificial. I really want to try and do some damage with those Banelings. Are they going to be able to do much? I don't think they actually did. How many units did he really lose there? Probably not enough. It's left a lot of them with low HP, but oh, I don't know. I could have used them better, I suppose, but under all that pressure it wasn't easy. That bunker's going to go because he didn't repair it. So, what is he thinking? His response is to counter-attack. Now that's exactly what I want, because we're going to get to see what these borrowed Banelings get to do. Are you ready? Are you watching? Boom! Yes, that's what they do. They can indeed explode whilst borrowed.